All right. Well, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Cando Links to Learning. It is the first day of March, and you know what that means? That means spring is right around the corner. So I'm super excited as we're ending this winter season, the season of, gathering, listening to stories. To a new season. I'm really looking forward to a new season. So I hope you're doing well and happy March. Happy first day of March. So we got a really great guest speaker. I had a little conversation with him just before we opened the doors to this meeting, and I learned so much in that 2 minutes. So I'm really looking forward to our guest speaker, Tim Daniels. But before we get started, let's just take a moment to acknowledge Creator and all the goodness that surrounds us. As that sun rose in the east this morning, Creator meeting us for another day. There's always new teachings, new lessons, new opportunities, new friendships to be made. And so here we are in this virtual setting. And so we're so honored that you've joined us this afternoon. And so we give thanks to Creator for this opportunity to be here and to learn and possibly share a story or have questions with our guest speaker. So it's a really great opportunity to learn and to grow and to dream for our own communities wherever we come from. So Tim is going to share about what's going on in his neck of the woods. And I tell you, it sounds like amazing, incredible stuff. So I feel like we're going to all walk away inspired. So a little bit of housekeeping items. There is going to be an evaluation link sent to you at the end of today's presentation. Please fill that out. We always love to hear your feedback, your voice. And when you do, your name will be entered to win a draw. I believe there's 2 $100 Visa gift cards. So your name will be entered to win that draw. And I believe the gals will do the draw Thursday, Friday, and they will email you. They will email the people who have been selected. So fill out those evaluations. There is opportunity for you to ask any questions or perhaps share a story at the end of today's session. But if you have questions along the way, feel free to use that chat box, and I will absolutely make note of them. And we will make sure that those questions or even comments get tended to. Also, feel free to use that chat box and let us know where you're joining from. I'm so excited to hear where everyone is from. That really is cool that we can gather on this virtual station here. So welcome. So you're not here to listen to me. You're here to listen to our guest speaker, Tim Daniels. So he's going to talk about unlocking economic opportunities, building Canada's largest Indigenous economic development zone. So he's going to talk about what's going on in his community and the good things, the big things that are happening there, but a little bit about Tim Daniels. He's a proud Anishinabe from the Long Plain First Nation located on Treaty 1 territory. So he's currently the Chief Development Officer with Treaty 1 Development Corporation, responsible for planning and the redevelopment of the 160-acre former Kapyong, I just said that wrong, I know it, barracks in Winnipeg, now known as Naawi-Oodena. I tried to write this down because I didn't want to get it wrong. So Tim has a wealth of experience in property and business development and is devoted to projects that help First Nations strive for economic success, and sustainability. So his accomplishments include development of Long Plain urban reserves in both Winnipeg and Portage-la Prairie, which have established LPFN as an economic force in Canada. Check it out. He's won many awards, including the Economic Developer of the Year. Round of applause there. The Spirit of Growth and Visionary Indigenous Business Excellence Awards. And those are just to name just a few that we're going to mention here. So Tim, so honored that you have come to share what's going on in your business, organization, and in the community. So thank you for making time to be here today. So I'm going to pass this virtual mic over to you.
Thank you very much, Michelle, for that great opening. And I want to say, wow, it's great back to be in the Cando circle. Tim Daniels, Dishnakaz, Naawi-Oodena, Gaganooshdiag, and Dunji, 21. My name is Tim Daniels. I'm from the Long Plain First Nation. My clan is Bear, and I am here in the Treaty 1 territory. I'm the Chief Development Officer for the Treaty 1 Development Corporation, and I'm very pleased to be here to speak about Naawi-Oodena, unlocking opportunities for Canada's largest Indigenous urban reserve. But first, some history. All right. So Treaty 1 signed in 1871 between Her Majesty and the Treaty 1 nations here in southern Manitoba. There were 5. There was Roseau, Broken Head, Saging, and Peguis. Did I say 5? Broken Head, Saging, Peguis, and Roseau River, and the Portage Band. The Portage Band is now referred to as Long Plain First Nation, Swan Lake First Nation, and the Sandy Bay First Nation. So there are now 7 First Nations in Treaty 1. Originally there was 5. And it was 1876 that the Portage Band broke up into 3 separate reserves. And if it hadn't happened, the Portage Band would be the largest reserve here in Manitoba. In 1990, I don't know if you're all familiar with what treaty land entitlements are. TLEs, in short, are Canada's obligation to First Nations to satisfy the land when the treaties were settled. You know, there was a land quantum figure associated with creating these reserves. In 1870s, throughout the 1930s, Canada failed to survey and do a census properly, and the reserves were shortchanged land, and thus would lead to the settlement of treaty land entitlements in the 1990s with Long Plain, Swan Lake, and Roseau River, and the other Treaty 1 nations under the Manitoba Treaty Land Entitlement Framework Agreement signed in 1997. So now we have the Treaty 1 nations now looking to purchase lands in their territory, and in 2001. The Department of National Defense started speaking about closing their former Kapyong Barracks in the city of Winnipeg. It was there since the war times. They decided to close that base and move their operations to Shiloh, Manitoba, in the early 2000s. And that's when the Long Plain First Nation and the Broken Head First Nation stood up and said, "Hey, Canada, you have outstanding treaty land entitlements that you need to deal with first, especially when you're talking about federal surplus lands. We should have the right, first right of refusal. You should consult with us when our lands are becoming available, and strategic lands at that." So Canada continued to pursue closing down the Kapyong Barracks, and then thus started the discussions more and more with Broken Head and Long Plain, saying, "Hey, you need to talk to us." Treaty 1 leadership also, they got together and said, "Hey, let's take Canada to task on this duty to consult, and let's negotiate a settlement with Canada." So it was in 2004 that the Kapyong Barracks closed, and thus started the court battle. It was a 17-year court battle or legal battle with Canada on these lands, which are 160 acres of lands. Canada would lose twice in their appeals. It wasn't until the former Prime Minister Stephen Harper said, "No more are we going to appeal this decision. Canada will negotiate with the Treaty 1 nations on these lands." And the negotiations would go on for another 3 years until a agreement in principle was reached in 2018, with a comprehensive settlement agreement signed in 2019. That's when the Development Corporation was born, and staff we started working on the file of the former Kapyong Barracks. Now, I'm going to switch to my presentation now, so just give me a little second here. Do we see my stuff here? Let me know. Can you see my screen? Yes? Okay. So now a little bit of background on Naawi-Oodena, the former Kapyong Barracks. So it came to be because of a treaty land entitlement, and also our treaty 1871 treaty. Naawi-Oodena, as I explained to Michelle, is an Anishinabe word for center of the heart. center of the community. We didn't want to refer to it as like former Kapyong Barracks anymore. So we took it to a ceremony, and we took it to the to Saging First Nation, one of our member nations, and we went to the late Dave Kershane and asked him to give us the name for this site. So it's now referred to as Naawi-Oodena. So there's so much potential on this project. You know, Indigenous business is expected to skyrocket, you know, 32 billion to 100 billion over the next 5 years, and it's mostly fueled because of these treaty land entitlements. We're us buying lands in strategic places throughout Canada, and the Treaty 1 nations are Naawi-Oodena, the former Kapyong Barracks, is part of this economic reshaping, as it will unlock endless opportunities and benefits for generations to come. The whole project we projected a 15-year build out. So we like to have that whole 160 acres built out within 15 years. So when we say generations, and we're talking about my children working on this project next in terms of that generational handoff. So it's a rare opportunity, Naawi-Oodena. It's tucked in between two neighborhoods that are called Tuxedo and River Heights. They're Winnipeg's most affluent communities, meaning you know, money, right? And it's so we are right in between those two communities on Route 90 or Keniston Boulevard. So this area is also exclusive to retail and commercial development, with you know, 160 acres of land. You know, that's a quarter section of land, if you know that jargon of talk. So it's a quarter section of land in the city of Winnipeg. It's a former military base, and what we worked on is what you call the master plan. 2 years in the making. You know, we studied the community. We engaged for nearly 2 years our citizens, the city of Winnipeg, and also stakeholders, meaning the city of Winnipeg and their departments in the development of a master plan, and commissioned many reports on the viability of businesses and the proper mix of what you're about to see in the next few slides. So what we've come up with is we designed a mixed use community. Now, what I didn't mention though also was that part of the settlement was that the Treaty 1 nations will develop 109 acres of the 160 acres. The balance of the property, the 51 acres, are going to be developed side by side by Cando Lands Company. Now, going back, I guess I should have mentioned Cando Lands Company in the beginning, but at the beginning, before this court case started, Cando Lands Company was going to develop the whole site, and we were out of the picture. But our Treaty 1 chiefs settled for 68% of the lands. Cando Lands Company has been great to work with. They have experience in developing former military bases throughout Canada. There's some examples right in your back door at the Kapyong Barracks in Edmonton. You go check there. There's 640 acres. There was a former military base. They're demolishing it, but also developing it at the same time. And if you travel a little bit further down south to Calgary, there's the Curry Barracks. Same thing. 160 acres there that the Cando Lands Company has remediated and developed an award-winning community, by the way, in Calgary. So that's who we're partnered up with in terms of developing our site, and we've come up with a very great plan for development, and learning from them, from their experiences as well. I want to acknowledge some people in the room. Actually, we have our CEO of the Development Corporation here, Wayward Southern. Hey, Wayward. He's my boss, and we work on the Peguis First Nation in the city of Winnipeg, one of the two urban reserves in the city of Winnipeg, and that's where my head office is on the Peguis Reserve in Winnipeg. He's here today, and we also have some other of our staff here as well. In terms of my team, the economic development team, Preston and Emily and Tanis are here as well, and some of our support staff. So great to have you here. Now, also want to acknowledge our past leadership that brought us here today, and our current leadership. So we have proven track record here on this project. There's so many years of experience on this project because well, there's been urban reserves created here in the city of Winnipeg, and in my introduction, it was mentioned that I was a part of Long Plain First Nation in the Madison Reserve here in Winnipeg, and the Kishkimak Reserve here in Portage Prairie, where I am today. There's also we have our Treaty 1 staff our development corporation staffed with all the nation staff. All the nations are working, citizens are working, I wouldn't say all, but representative in our office. So we do have many years of experience. We have Swan Lake First Nation, we have the Long Plain First Nation, 2 urban reserves, and Peguis. And the people that have worked on those files for their respective nations are working for Treaty 1 now. So many years of experience at this table. So we're very excited, and as you're gonna see some better slides in terms of what you're about to expect over the next few years. Many years of experience, as I mentioned, CLC, Downsville Park, you know, the CN Tower, they manage that as well, and many other projects in Canada. So very well, a lot of experience on this project. I want to add too that typically Long Plain First Nation Peguis, it took them 6 to 7 years to create reserves, urban reserves in the city of Winnipeg, and those are high profile reserves, if you will. Others outside of Winnipeg have taken 10 years, 15 years. This one here, we're on the cusp. We're on the cusp of creating this reserve in 3 years. Very proud to say that we have an excellent team, excellent leadership, and excellent consultants we work with. So it's going to be really great. So I talked about this premium location between Tuxedo and River Heights. You can see in the pink, that's a little L-shaped piece of land. Those are our lands there. So for the first time in the history of half a century, this is an exclusive site for development, because we're situated in right between River Heights and Tuxedo. So we run along. They run adjacent to and surround Naawi-Oodena, so it makes it a lucrative investment opportunity. Route 90 goes down the site, and Route 90 is the main artery in the city of Winnipeg for the movement of goods and truckers and all that stuff. So it's a major site, and we're attached to major roadways in the city of Winnipeg. So some of the wealth on our doorsteps is that the incomes range from 80 to $225,000. 36% of the citizens of that area are university educated with a high disposable income. So the population of Winnipeg is 780,000. It's a profitable shopping district. Naawi-Oodena benefits strongly from some of the city's highest traffic counts along Kenaston, Portage Avenue, and Bishop Grandin. An added benefit to the proximity of connecting streets into the growing residential neighborhoods of Waverly West, Bridgewater, and South Charleswood, and the strong future potential of South Wilkes, all within 5 kilometers of the Winnipeg southwest quadrant. A lot of people traveling to work along that site, along those roadways, and they're going to be driving by Naawi-Oodena. So high traffic counts, 3 major thoroughfares, as I mentioned, and easy access in all directions, and we're just minutes away from the airport. You know, the airport is only a 10-minute drive, provided you get the green lights, right? But it's a very strategic location. This is an image from the master plan. This is the 160 acres zoned out for different uses. You know, we have a mixed use village, a commercial mixed village, a lower density residential. The mixed use village looks exciting. It runs along Grant Avenue, and that's mixed use. If you picture commercial buildings or commercial retail on the main floor, coffee shop, pharmacy, and the like, with second, third floors, apartments. So, and then you go down further south on the map into the orange areas, and that's a commercial site. That's the retail stores, that's the box stores, and that's the banks, and so on. Then some of the other colored areas, of course, there's residential. You know, we have up to 3,000. We have space for up to 3,000 units on this site. What that means is, you know, single family homes in the yellow, or stacked townhouses in the orange, or, you know, kind of higher density homes, meaning apartment blocks, townhomes. We have 3,000 doors that we want to fill. So this what we see here is a community that you can live work, play, and go to school. Because we also heard that people want education facilities that are our own to showcase our rich history. It's also a dark history with what Canada did to us. So that story needs to be told, and we want to tell that story on this land. That's the light blue part of on the map, where the educational part of it is the educational institutions, post-secondary. And also there's room for recreation. We've outlined that in the purple on the bottom there. Some of those little blue drawings or speckles of things you see there are they manage the stormwater. You can't flood the stormwaters when there's too much rain or too much snow melting. So you need to manage it and let it seep into the stormwater systems slowly. So that's what those are for. But they also act as green space, and in the wintertime you could skate on there, right? So that's what those little blue areas are for. So this 100 acres for a mixed use village, 45 acres for commercial mixed use, 45 acres for low and medium density, 5 acres for sports and recreation, 11 acres for culture and education campus, and 12 acres for community and commemorative spaces. Meaning, well, we want to name our streets after some, like for instance, Sergeant Tommy Prince. One of the most decorated World War II veterans came here from Treaty 1 territory. So you'll probably see a street named after him on the site, or at least even a veterans museum. Sergeant Tommy Prince from Treaty 1 Brokenhead. So this was 2 years in the making. What you see here, we commissioned residential studies, commercial studies. We engaged with our citizens, what they wanted to hear or what they wanted to see built, how they want to live there, how they want to travel throughout the site. So that's kind of this is what one page of 130 document, and you could visit that document at treaty1.ca, the master plan. This is kind of how the conceptual build-out looks in terms of placing buildings and homes and residential units on the site. So imagine the heart of the community, the development central spine is characterized as a pathway linking Naawi-Oodena from one to the other. It features large outdoor community spaces with trails and parkways designed for residents, neighbors, and employees who live, work, and play in this legacy development. So starting from the top of the drawing, we don't have typical straight angle streets. They curve. You could walk from a residential zone to a park zone to a mixed use to commercial to education and recreation, and enjoy all this. And I look forward to that day, to walking that site. Visually looking at it on the screen, it looks small, but I'm telling you, it's not. It'll take you quite a while to walk from end to end. And I look really forward to that day. I'm really excited about this project, right? 160 acres in total. So we have a 5-phase build out over 10 years. Block A. We've labeled these 5 parcels of lands, Block A, B, C, D, and E. And if you could see them, I don't know if you see my little hand. Do you see my little hand going down here on this drawing? This is what we call Block A. And this is what we're aggressively working on right now. It's a smaller site. It's 8 acres of land, and it runs along Taylor Avenue, and there's brand new water and sewer lines on there. So we kind of selected that site to develop first. So on that site is going to be a gas station, an auto service center, but light auto service, meaning oil change, tires, and that kind of stuff. A strip mall, an office complex. And an apartment building. So it's a mixed-use parcel, and we want to go shovels the ground this summer to get the projects going. The first one would be a gas bar, and I need to talk about a gas bar, because gas bars on reserves are money makers in terms of the volume. I'll speak about the Madison gas station on the Madison Reserve in the city of Winnipeg, owned by the Long Plain First Nation. Operates 24 hours a day, employs 40 people, and it generates millions for the Long Plain First Nation that go towards economic development, social development, and housing and recreation and so forth. So gas stations will be the first project on Naawi-Oodena. employing many people, and we're building a Cadillac gas station. Unfortunately, on the Madison Reserve, space was limited, so we built a small gas station. People line up, people park their cars in lines for 15 minutes to get gas there, but they want to get gas there because you go there with your status card, you get a discount. You buy cigarettes with your status card, you get a discount. That drives a lot of traffic to that site, and this is what is imagined for Naawi-Ooodena. Residential line, it's going to be great to live there. You know, a place to call home. You know, for many of us that you know still live on reserve, like myself. When you go to the city of Winnipeg, it feels like home, but going here is going to really feel like home. You know, so to have a reserve, a common reserve in Winnipeg is going to be really great. So of course, planned is for residential also. So as I mentioned, there's up to space for up to 3,000 homes, or 3,000 doors, if you will. That includes the apartments, the homes, and the townhomes that will be built on this site. This will represent the largest multi-use project in modern Winnipeg history, and the single largest strategically located urban economic zone in Canada. Typically, a lot of reserves urban reserves are created on the outskirts of a town, or just in industrial areas. So this is in a prime location, prime real estate in the city of Winnipeg. Of course, there's the commercial retail zones. Naawi-Oodena will promote a wide range of retail and commercial uses containing both large and single clusters of smaller users. So remember when I was talking about the mixed village? This is an example of a mixed village. You see kind of retail on the bottom with condos or apartments on top. So this is what is envisioned for the mixed use village that runs along Grant. Office space, restaurants and groceries, hotels, cultural and recreation, institutional, and of course residential. And there's been a lot of great interest to create partners with us, because you know there are so many direct opportunities and indirect opportunities in working with Treaty 1 to establish this economic zone in the city of Winnipeg that called Naawi-Oodena. Create partnerships with us, you're going to benefit as well. But also, what our strategy at Treaty 1 is also to be vertically integrated. We want to make money along every step of the way, meaning providing our aggregate, providing our labor, providing our selling supplies to our own, and also owning some of the supply chain. So that's where we're working on here at Treaty 1-2, is to be vertically integrated to supply the construction of these businesses and supply the retail business as well. Meaning, if we're to open a gas station, we want to own a wholesale company or be partners in a wholesale company or the fuel supply company. And that's what that vertical integration means. We want to earn money not only just on the retail side of things, but the supply chain as well. Commemorative spaces. I talked about Sergeant Tommy Prince, the most decorated soldier in World War II. So we want to, of course, recognize the former use of that site as being a military base, but also acknowledge our Indigenous veterans that fought in World War I, II, and Korea, and peacetime as well, because we all know that they weren't drafted, they weren't forced, they volunteered. So that's a great story to tell. But it's also a sad story, and that's for another day to tell. But it is a sad story, how the mistreatment of our Indigenous veterans. That story we'll tell here. Commemorative spaces. We're really proud to include it on the master plan a subcommittee called the Indigenous Design Team. The Indigenous Design Team were made up of Indigenous architects, Indigenous interior designers, ethnobotanists, an elder, a museum curator, a person involved in active transportation, and a person involved in the arts. We're trying to capture a lot of disciplines in shaping the design and look of this Naawi-Oodena. So there was many Indigenous people involved in this, and even early on in the game we talked about the scent, the smell. Scent and smells bring back great memories, positive memories. For myself, as an example, when you smell cedar, and you go to ceremony. What do you do when you go to a ceremony? You bless the room, you cedar, then you start your ceremony. I want to smell cedar on the site when I go there. I want to smell sweetgrass when I go there, sage, those medicines I want to smell because it's uplifting to you, right? So those kind of things, sense, smell, and sights. So we're working on design guidelines too in the construction of these buildings and these homes too. So to recognize our Indigenous design. Very proud to say that. Of course, there's the community features and green spaces. The green space. Every community needs some green space. So and parks for families. So that's been taken into consideration in the green spaces. So plenty of park space throughout the design, pathways that connect to other green space, and active transportation is encouraged, meaning bikes, skateboarding, and so on. So it's encouraged to be active on this site. We're actually even talking with one of the big technology companies. Oh no! Can you hear me? I lost.
Yes, I can hear you.
I lost my camera. Can you hear me now? I'm
Yes.
sorry.
Yep.
I lost my cameras for some reason here. Where was I? Active transportation, right? And the green spaces. So yeah, active transportation, walking along the site, encouraging. I'm sorry, I lost it because I lost my camera here. No, I was talking about the technology companies. So thinking about like monitoring steps and things to see and things to engage in on the site using 5G technology on the site. So we're everywhere utilizing technology to create an experience on the site as well. So the Treaty 1 First Nations, there are 7: Broken Head, Long Plain, Peguis, Roseau, Saugeen, Sandy Bay, and Swan Lake. Our mandate at Treaty 1 is to use, manage, administer, and regulate our lands, to control the disposition of rights and interests in our lands, to regulate the use of buildings on our lands, to use, manage, and administer its monies and other assets utilized, generated, and required as part of the Kapyong lands, to promote the general welfare of our members of the Treaty 1 Nations, and to promote and carry out community development. There are about 100,000 or so, 110,000 Indigenous people in Manitoba, and 38% of that are in the Treaty 1 Nations. There are 63 First Nations in Manitoba, 7 are Treaty 1. We make up for 1 in 4 people Indigenous in Manitoba. We have a stable network. Treaty 1 Development Corporation is a collaborative organization that continues to benefit from years of relationship building and a stable network of stakeholders and partners from coast to coast to coast. We work with Indigenous Service Canada, the Department of National Defense, the Canada Lands Company, and the City of Winnipeg. We're also very tied very knitly closely to the universities of Winnipeg and Manitoba, meaning they profile the project and we work with their students to inspire them to work with us in the future. Part of taking on this project too is that we needed to see what works out there in Canada. So when we started this project, we went from coast to coast looking at economic zones in Canada, from Member 2 in Nova Scotia to Tsuut'ina in the city of Calgary, and West Bank First Nation in Kelowna, just to name a few. So we're very closely integrated, or not integrated. We speak a lot to them in terms of our development and their development, sharing of information. And I look forward to a lot of economic zones being established in Canada in these major cities. And I look forward to Edmonton, when you get the Enoch working on their urban reserve in the city of Edmonton. So I look forward to that day as well, to traveling there. Naawi-Ooodena, there we are, Wayward Southern CEO. We are staffed with 17 people. There are 3 units that work on the project. We have, of course, the ECDev team whom I work with. I'm the Chief Development Officer, and I have ECDev officers who work with me. But also we have, because of this project, the governance piece also had to be created, because you could do all this development, but you need a good, strong foundation to manage the people, the opportunities, and the revenues. So out of this land claim and these lands, that was born out of that, a good governance piece. So there's the governance team that are working with the nations to establish the good governance on these lands, the comprehensive settlement agreement, implementing that. And then there's the lands. There's a lands department that works along with this. They have worked diligently on this project, and some great experience on that team. And so they're tasked with implementing some of the deliverables of the comprehensive settlement agreement. That means creating the reserve, going through some of the processes of Indian affairs in terms of leasing our third-party interests and so forth. So they're working on that. And then, so there's the governance piece, the ECDev piece, and the lands piece, all working together on this project. And as I was mentioning to Michelle before we started, is that typically these reserves, these urban reserves, have taken 7 years for Long Plain in Winnipeg. But this one here, we're on the cusp, creating a reserve in 3 years. That's very, very, very proud to say that. We're very proud to be part of this team. We have a great team at Treaty One, and I look forward to that day when we could go shovel the ground and start creating opportunities right away. And we have an employment training strategy as well that I like to mention, because the youth need opportunities. They need something to as a goal to, like, hey, I want to work and live there someday. So I want to go to school. I want to be a lawyer. I want to open up a law firm on that, and I'm going to do that. And those kind of things. We attended some of the high school career fairs, and I said exactly that. There are so many opportunities for you right away. If you want to get involved in landscaping or construction, there's opportunities. There's opportunities for you in supplying these businesses. There's opportunities for you building these buildings, and or perhaps even working these buildings, or being an entrepreneur, leasing space off of us. So I don't know. There's so many opportunities for us here, and it's a legacy project. It's a landmark project for not only Manitoba but for Canada, because like Naawi-Oodena, when you look on the map, Naawi-Oodena is the center of Winnipeg. You back it out, the map up, and you'll notice that the city of Winnipeg is the center of Turtle Island. So our name Naawi-Oodena is very fitting, and we look forward to that day. To I don't know, I'm speechless. It's very passionate about this project. I've been involved in this project since the late 2000 or the 2008. I was assigned as a technician to represent Long Plain on the negotiations. So very, very excited, very proud to be on this team. That's my presentation. A lot you could follow us on treaty1.ca. Go to our website, treaty1.ca. Follow us on Facebook for more updates. We're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, we're on Instagram and LinkedIn. So you just find us there for updates, and I'm free for any questions.
Wow, Tim. In the middle of the presentation, I had this moment where I thought, wow, our ancestors must be so proud. And I applaud the envisioning, the prayers, the ceremony, the brainstorming, the conversations. I wrote some other pieces down, the creative, the strategies, all of that went behind putting legs underneath this. So I just applaud you. Thank you for sharing it. And you can see your passion and your enthusiasm around this project. And I feel so honored that you were able to share it. And And we were able to dream and see it and hope for it. And so I feel like I stand with our ancestors, and I'm so proud to hear about this project happening. So
Yes,
thank you.
I stand. I've gone on to say I stand on the shoulders of great leaders, the past leaders, and very proud to work on their vision. You know, I liken it to a farmer. And in terms of, I'm going to speak about this land that I sit on here, Kishkimakwa, the urban reserve in Portage Prairie. The leadership of the day, you know, acquired this land and created this reserve, but they didn't envision what it is today. But they got the land, you know, and they got it ready for what it is today. You know, so I liken those past leadership as the farmers that plowed the land, that got it ready for us to sprinkle it with opportunities. And that's how it is today. You know, we stand on the greatness of past leaders in Treaty One. And there are many. Our you know, we've been locked out of the economy for 150 years since signing Treaty One, being located, you know, far away from civilization, and our movements controlled by the Indian agent. You know, and we were starved. So this is timely, you know, for us to get involved in the economy again, to provide the opportunities for our own people, and to, you know, reclamation of our land back. Hi, Shauna. Sorry, Shauna's comments. Good to see you again, Shauna.
I have a comment here that is from Ken. It says, great persistence equals great success equals great inspiration equals great presentation. Thank you, Tim. And that's from Ken. Robert LaValle has a question. How can students in land management or community planning get involved? Or will there be any internships?
Great comment, Robert. You know, we do reach out to the universities and looking out for graduates, and also looking at practicums too. So we are open to that. And, you know, if you know anybody wanting to work in that area, let us know. Send us an email. My email address, I type it in here at timdaniels@treaty1.ca. I can type it in here. And I'll type it right now. But yeah, we do want to work. We want to take on students, and like this is a 15-year project, and there are room for people to join the team, because we're only going to grow. You know, we started 3 years ago. There was 5 of us. We didn't even have an office. We didn't have a desk. We had, you know, those blue recyclable bins. That's how we started. We got a pen, we got a USB stick, and a notebook, and a stapler, and that's how we started. Off we went. Now we have over 18 of us now. And you gotta know, when we started this, there was no COVID. Bang, 8 months later, there's COVID, locked down. We've been working remotely for almost 2 years, and we've made leaps and bounds. Very proud to say we have a great team, and working in this virtual world, and that's how Canada's been working with us, and our partners too. But I miss the human connection. You know, we did for a while, in a couple months of 2019, we were able to go back to the communities and see people face to face for a while. Then Omicron came and shut all that down again. So we're looking forward to going back into communities again, because that's what we work for. There's 38,000 of us in Treaty One territory, and we've listened to them, and we will continue to listen to them in terms of their visions and their aspirations and their wishes for this site.
Okay, there is another question, but I also want to acknowledge Shauna Morningbull. Thanks for your comment there about this awesome presentation Tim gave. All right, is there a priority list for future residents in renting and condos?
Well, we want, you know, like, money is money. You know, you have the money to lease or to rent off us. You know, money is money. But, you know, preferably our mandate is to serve, you know, our Treaty One citizens. So our Treaty One citizens, you know, most likely be first in line with everybody else. But again, like those are policies that are yet to be developed. We're just developing the businesses right now as we progress. You know, we've heard that in our communities too. Like, what's the priority of selection for homes? Like, for instance, our apartment complex. We're building an apartment complex on Block A, 144 units. It's a hybrid, if you will, meaning affordable flex. You know, market rent. Half the units are market rent and half are subsidized rent through CMHC, because we're working through CMHC as well. So those questions came up in terms of the selection of you know, who goes in there, that first apartment. You know, but again, you know, money is money. We want to give you a place to live, but we need to make money as well. So did I answer that question? Was that a two-part question?
Oops, I believe you answered it.
Okay.
So opportunity for anyone to come online. You can unmute yourself. You can ask a question, or maybe you have a comment. What I really appreciated, the one piece in your presentation, Tim, was that you did take the time. You went and talked, I think you said the citizens, you talked to the community. So you made sure that their input was heard, and implementing that into your project, which is so important.
Yes, you know, it was 2 years of engagement, and there's a lot of interest in that project, because that 160 acres has kind of been the greatest waste of urban landscape in Western Canada, and it's about time to get on with it. But first, we wanted some of our neighbors didn't want us there. I'll put it out there. Our neighbors didn't want us there. There's, of course, there's you know, negative feelings about the Indigenous people or urban reserves, you know. So we had to dispel the rumors. It took us a while, but we did. We won our neighbors over. We did an extensive consultation with them, engagement with them. We studied them. We went behind. We studied our neighbors. We showed them. We didn't. Some communication expert did. You know, showed them images, great images, negative images. Got their feedback. Gave them things to talk about. So we kind of gauged what they thought about us, men and women, different age groups, and we developed our strategy for that, and we won them over when we did a town hall meeting. Typically, town hall meetings are in person, but we had to take it to Zoom. COVID was here. We were all working remotely, and our partners, the Cando Lands Company, we did a virtual engagement on June 20th of 2020. 800 people watched us live on a weeknight. Cando Lands Company went on to say that was the biggest town hall meeting in their 25-year history. And you could go back and watch this video on our Facebook site. It's there. We won them over because we gave them a seamlessly integrated community. That's you know, that was kind of the worrisome thing, like, you know, oh, I'm gonna build a reserve in the city of Winnipeg. How's it gonna look? Well, we have experts in interior designing and so on. So like, we could do it. We've proven to them we can. So we've won them over.
What a great example. That's amazing.
No, like, you know, go behind a two-sided mirror. They can't see you. We're watching them, but they can't see us. Those kind of things we did. And I'm giving away our secrets, but that's you have to understand your neighbors, right? You got to understand where you're moving into. So expect what they thought about us. So we developed our strategy, our messaging, and who we met with. So we have a lot of support in the city of Winnipeg for this project.
Ooh, so many strategies going into this. That's great. Okay, anybody have any questions before we end our time together? Also note in the chat box, Tim did put his email address out there. So if you have any questions beyond this time, that's a good contact. So any questions?
I don't have a question. I just have a comment. Tim, I just want to say great job. Awesome job. Really good forum. Great presentation. and we should do more of these.
Thanks,
That's what I mean.
Waylon.
Yep.
Thanks, Waylon. Waylon's our CEO of the Development Corporation. Hope you get better soon, Waylon. You got to see the recent C, not the other C. You got the COVID. Sorry, Waylon.
Yeah.
I wanted to share that with our audiences. That's why you might not have your camera on if he sounds that way. But yeah, thanks, Waylon, for chiming in, and thanks for being here with me today. And the staff that joined. There was Emily McKinney, Preston Roulette. I saw Ardell Boubard, and I also saw Shannon join. So we had about five of our staff here sitting with me today. So I felt good you guys joined me today.
That's great. What a team. What a team. Okay. Any comments, questions for Tim? I mean, Tim, you've just demonstrated, you've given us, you know, that, or you reminded us of the possibility of developing stronger community opportunity. And then you even commented about the young people and giving them something that they can dream of, they can look forward, they can plan as they're thinking about their future. So thank you for, you know, again, lending your valuable time, your expertise, and helping us to dream of what is possible. So thank you so very much. Great information, says Cheryl. Very exciting, and thank you for sharing.
Well, thank you for thinking about me to present this. And like I said, you can follow us on our Facebook pages or other social medias for updates, and send me an email. There are so many opportunities for all of us to prosper on this project.
Oh, awesome. Well, Tim, it was great to see you again. I look forward to hearing, you know, maybe in 6 months, a year from now, 2 years, where you've taken this vision. So thank you so much. Thank you all for joining us this afternoon.
One more thing, Michelle, I forgot to mention. I want to make a plug.
Go for it.
We actually we're actually part of a business now. Although we haven't created this reserve, we are thinking about, you know, creating different revenue streams. We're part owners of a travel agency now, an Indigenous travel agency. So Cando, and anybody else going to the Cando conference in May, or you're all going out on this, go travel on, even on a personal holiday. Indigeno travel. Book your flights with Indigeno travel.
And can you put that in the chat box, please?
I will.
Indigeno travel. I feel like that's another session we need to hear more about. Thanks so much, Tim. And Shauna, it's so good to see your face. I'm happy you're here. All right, so there it is, Indigeno travel. I'm going to Google that, look it up. And also Treaty One, is it treaty1.ca?
Treaty1.ca, yeah.
All right. So thanks for the inspiration. Thanks for joining us. I hope you have a good rest of the day and have some vision, have some possibility. There's opportunity out there. So peace, everyone.
Thank you.